What's up YouTube? Leon here, and today I want to talk more about VR. I think I'm really enjoying this VR thing so far. But today I want to focus on where VR should be going in the future. Been thinking about where the hardware should be focusing on and how the games should be innovating on the new headsets. This is going to be more of a rambling video. It's not going to be as scripted as my other ones. It's just more of me just talking about VR in general. So let's start off with the thing that everyone knows, the new headsets. By the time this video comes out, I think both headsets might be out. I'm not sure about the index, but the Oculus Rift S is the new tethered headset by Oculus, and they also have a portable Quest, which is the more interesting and accessible one for everyone. It's a standalone thing, which is pretty cool. The S has the new inside-out tracking. You don't need the little Oculus thingy sensors, and you have to deal with the really annoying sensor setup for Oculus. For those of you who have an Oculus, you know how annoying it is to set up those sensors. So the inside-out tracking is really nice. Of course, Valve is releasing their Index in June, mid-June I think, sometime in June, and theirs is more of the enthusiast VR set. It's $1,000, which is ridiculous. But that's only if you're getting the full suite. The headset itself, I think, is $500 or something, which is still ridiculous. But for their end, their innovations with their tech is just the knuckles, and I think they're kind of cool. But for games, I really don't see too much with them besides maybe communicating with sign language or something, playing rock paper scissors. But I really don't see too much for those knuckles in games, so it's not really that big in terms of new games. But both of these headsets are favoring the high resolution LCD panels. I think they use different types of LCDs, like RBG, I forget what it's called, whatever those things are. But they're ditching the OLEDs, which I'm a big fan of. I'm a really big fan of like the OLED screens. They're just really nice, have really nice colors to them, really black darks and whatnot. It sucks that they are taking away that for, LCDs. As I've been talking before about the Valve Knuckles, I think what we have in VR so far, like if you look at an Oculus or a Vive controller, I think we're good. The newer controllers both have analog sticks on them, which is nice, and 2 buttons on each side, and a trigger and a grip button. I think that's enough for any game. I don't think we need to add more to the controllers. Maybe the only thing they need to add is a D-pad. It'd be nice, like an extra D-pad. That'd be kind of cool. Alright, I know it's early to talk about the next generation of headsets since we just hit pretty much the 2nd generation. But what we need for the next one is wireless. I think built-in wireless, like being able to choose between a tethered cable or a wireless connection, would be really nice. I think that's the next gen, what we're going to see in the next one. Alright, so let's go to the important part, and I think for VR, it's about the games. That's the thing we've been lacking, and that's the thing that all the developers need to focus on, is just getting good VR games. And that's one thing Oculus has been doing really well, is just getting new VR games. I'm actually excited to get certain VR games from what they announced. While the new VR games are really cool, one thing I would like is just to see more normal games just have a VR option. I know this is kind of a weird debate, A lot of people just want VR games, like more just games made for VR, but I also want to see just more games have a VR option. And the reason why I've been thinking about this is a animator named Mike Inell. If you know this name, you know he makes some not safe for work animations, but he has actually made a Adventure Time game, and this game is free. You can get it. There's some not safe for work stuff in it, but you can turn it off. But it also has VR support, and what's interesting about it is that this game has a very cool way of implementing VR into a third-person hack and slash. This Adventure Time game is pretty much a Kingdom Hearts homage, and playing it in VR, they have like different VR options. They have like smooth locomotion, and they have this kind of teleporting camera thing. Once your character goes out of you, your camera will switch. Thinking of it like the still cameras from like Resident Evil. It's just a really cool way of implementing a VR camera in a third-person game. Of course, we have games like Lucky's Tale and whatnot, but this game can be played flat. You don't have to wear a VR headset, and you can play in VR, and it works just fine. And there's still like this immersion to it that I really enjoy. And I'm just thinking about it like, man, what if more games just had a VR option? I know you can inject games with VR with the Vorpix thing. You have to pay a license for. I think it's like $40 or something. But those are mainly for first-person shooters. I just want more games just to have a VR option. It's cool. And I think it's a cool perspective too, because it's like looking at a diorama. If you look at Lucky's Tale, these underground sections in this game, you can like look to your right or left and just see the whole level. It's like looking at a little mini model or diorama of the game, which is super cool. And I'm just imagining this for a game like Devil May Cry. Just imagine playing Devil May Cry in VR, like looking at a small diorama while you're, doing really cool combos and stuff. I think that'd be really cool. Just having a new perspective on a game just sells me on the idea of just having a VR option in games, I think. So while I was browsing for some more free VR games, I found a little game called Tea of Gods, and this game, I think, truly innovates on what VR should be. So what Tea of Gods is a first-person shooter roguelike. So if, you've probably heard this 1,000 times before, but Tea of Gods has something very cool going on for it. It has full room scale, but I would like to call it true room scale. So what I mean by that, the whole game pretty much is tailor fitted to your room. So to move in the game, you just walk. You just walk through your room. It's super, super immersive. It's crazy. So you might have like a ton of questions about like how this works, but the way Tea of Gods is, it's non-Euclidean geometry. Is that the right term? Let me look it up real quick. Yeah, non-Euclidean geometry. So it's just geometry that doesn't make sense in real life. So the way you progress through levels is you just keep going through corridors. Even though it doesn't make sense, you're still progressing through these like twisting corridors. And it's just like a genius idea for this type of room scale roguelike. And it's also one of those games where if you haven't tried it yourself, it's really hard to grasp like how innovative this game really is. I might just make like a video on Tea of Gods specifically, but if you're looking for like true innovation and just crazy immersion, Tea of Gods is the one. I just want to see more games like this, specifically in the VR space. It seems like it's very hard to detract from the non-Euclidean things if we're gonna try to put it in different subjects or ideas. But I think this is a really good step forward for innovation. And also, Tea of Gods is the game that made me want to make this video specifically. If you haven't heard about Tea of Gods and you have a VR headset, I would suggest to just try it out. It's still early access, like super alpha. It's on itch.io. It's going to be in the description. You can just go ahead and download it. But this is a game that I would pay premium for once it's finished. It's full $60. If it's a full $60, I will pay that, because I think it's such a neat idea that it deserves like a premium price. But yeah, hats off to the Void Room guys. It's really awesome. So I think that's it for me talking about just VR in general. Just wanted to make a really quick video on it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.